Bitters, the best way to think about them is the spice rack for cocktail making. To take the analogy further, if you were to make a soup, say you're making a carrot soup, you put all the ingredients in. One of the last things that you do is spice the soup to really bring out the flavor of the carrots, the sweetness, maybe even a little bit of the earthiness. If you've got onions in there, make sure you get a little bit of the savory. That's what a bitters can do for a cocktail. It brings out certain flavors, it mellows out others, it brings flavors together too. If sometimes maybe you have a really sharp citrus note, but also something a little softer and sweeter, the bitters can kind of mellow them out so that on your palate you're not getting all sorts of spikes of different flavors. It's much more smooth and brought together. As I mentioned before, there are many different kinds of bitters depending on what it is that you're doing, what kind of cocktails you're making. And I always think of pairing the different bitters with the base alcohol that you're making. So at home, I also make a lime coriander bitters and a grapefruit bitters that go really well with tequila and vodka. They're much lighter. You really get the fruit flavor out of them, but they would never work with a bourbon or a whiskey because that would just overwhelm the flavor. And I've even seen recipes for like a coffee bitters, actually I played with once. Had a hard time with the coffee. It's a hard flavor to infuse. It gets acidic and really hard to take really quickly if you let it sit too long, so I'm still playing around with that. I've even seen chocolate bitters. I've seen apple maple bitters. I'm sure someday somebody's gonna figure out a bacon bitters too, given the way everything's going these days.